If you've been anywhere near an international news feed recently, you've absolutely seen the alarming headlines blowing up out of Manila from May 13, 2026. We're talking about an international arrest warrant, a completely locked down Senate, and intensely conflicting reports of violence. Today, we're going to cut right through all that noise to see exactly how this massive breaking event fractured across both global and local media. Okay, let's dive into this and untangle the timeline and, of course, the narratives.
So here's exactly how we're structuring this explainer today. 1. Chaos in the Senate. 2. The ICC arrest target. And 3. Claims of a staged event.
All right, part 1, chaos in the Senate, the breaking event.
Let's trace how this whole thing exploded. On May 13, the media landscape literally fragmented in just a matter of hours. First international outlet First Post goes live, streaming this terrifying alert of shots fired right inside the legislative building. Then, just a few hours later, CBS News reports a high-profile figure is actively hiding in that exact same building. And almost at the exact same time, local network DZMM Teleradio airs an interview that throws the entire physical reality of the shooting into question. It's seriously a textbook example of fast-moving, incredibly conflicting realities. To really grasp the initial panic here, just consider the raw initial reports, shots fired inside Senate. This literal boots-on-the-ground interpretation was broadcast worldwide by international outlets like First Post and CBS News. I mean, when major networks use that exact phrase about a prominent government building, it automatically triggers a massive security response, right? It assumes an active, undeniable threat to human life. For anyone watching that First Post livestream, the whole situation was framed as a highly dangerous, rapidly unfolding tactical emergency.
Okay, moving right along to part 2, the ICC arrest target, the catalyst. The major player driving the underlying tension here is, of course, the ICC, the International Criminal Court. As an international tribunal, the fact that they're actively seeking to execute an arrest warrant in this specific case immediately takes this from a purely local, domestic incident and skyrockets it into a major diplomatic and legal flashpoint. And based on the live news reports we're tracking, the target of this massive international legal effort is ex-police chief Ronald Bato dela Rosa. He is the specific individual right at the center of the ICC's action. Honestly, his status is the absolute key to unlocking exactly why the Senate building became the center of global attention on May 13th. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it combines that heavy legal threat with a physical location. According to reports from CBS News, Bato dela Rosa wasn't just at large. He was reportedly hiding out right inside the Senate. The building was suddenly transformed into a sanctuary for an internationally wanted man. And that little detail makes those shots fired reports infinitely more volatile.
All of this forces us to ask the big, critical question that totally defined the second half of the day's news cycle. Was the gunfire a real threat? Maybe related to an attempted arrest or resistance? Or was it a staged diversion? Which brings us to part 3, claims of a staged event, the political conflict. This perfectly illustrates the jarring split screen of modern media coverage we have to deal with. On one hand, you've got the active shooter report. Outlets like First Post and CBS News framed the event as a literal active threat. People are watching live streams, totally worried about casualties. But then, on the exact same day, you have this staged event allegation reported by DZMM Teleradio. This completely flips the narrative on its head, suggesting the violence isn't a physical threat at all, but rather a calculated political diversion. It is so essential for us to hold both of these reported angles in our minds simultaneously to truly understand the full scope of the chaos. To get really specific on that political pushback, let's look at a direct quote aired on DZMM Teleradio. Antonio Trelana stated, "Senate shooting possibly staged. Cayetano, Bato may be behind it." Now, just to be absolutely clear here, in this explainer, we are impartially examining the media reports. We are absolutely not endorsing any political viewpoint or verifying this accusation. But the fact that this claim was broadcast to hundreds of thousands of viewers in real time is vital context. Trelanis is directly accusing the very man the ICC is hunting, Bato dela Rosa, along with Cayetano, of orchestrating the gunfire to manipulate the situation.
So the crucial takeaway here is that to truly grasp an incident like this, you just cannot rely on a single source. This comparison shows exactly why. First Post gave us the live action, the raw panic.
CBS News provided the location context, explaining exactly why the Senate was a total powder keg. And DZMM Teleradio delivered the political allegation, claiming the threat was completely manufactured. If you want to understand modern breaking news, you literally have to synthesize all these fractured lenses to see the complete picture.
As the dust finally begins to settle on the immediate chaos of May 13th, the really big overarching question remains. With an international tribunal demanding an arrest, a high-profile figure reportedly taking shelter in a national senate, and local politicians accusing each other of staging armed violence to manipulate the whole outcome, how will international law and local politics collide as this incredibly volatile story develops? It's a situation totally without modern precedent, and one we will undoubtedly be watching so closely. Thank you for joining me for this explainer, and keep your eyes on how these narratives continue to evolve.